If you guys have any questions, feel free to filter in the chat. I'm going to mute everybody right now except for our presenters, but let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll make sure they get to them. But thank you for joining.
All right. Well, I will go ahead and get this started. So good morning and welcome. And we're super excited to have everyone attend our session today, the breakout session on building a team. So Caldwell Banker had asked Angelina with Angelina Fox Smith and Company here in Columbus, as well as Ron and Anna Bisher with the Bisher Group in Cincinnati, to host this building a team session. And my name is Megan Anzer, and I'm actually, in full disclosure, Angie's team administrator, and obviously the crazy one that doesn't know who's speaking at any time. But as a former teacher, I think Angie loves to say, oh, Megan will do this. So I, for sure, to host the question session of this. So we also have Ronnie and Kristen that are going to be monitoring the questions as they come in. So if there's something that you want to ask, any of the team leads, feel free to type your question in, and either Kristen or Ronnie will make sure that hopefully at the end we'll have time to go over those. So without further ado, let's get started. And I thought it would be a good way to get started to let both of the teams introduce themselves, tell us where they're from, a little bit about their team. We'll go into more detail about how the team is set up, but just kind of give us the overview with it. So Angelina, do you want to get started with that?
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Angelina Fox Smith, and I do have Angelina Fox Smith and Company, the team. We have an amazing team. And yes, we are here in the Polaris office in Columbus. I got my license in actually 2008. So that's when I started in the business, and I started with Caldwell Banker and then.
Ron and Anna.
Good. Yep.
Hi, I'm Anna Bisher. We are in the Ohio, Indiana office in Cincinnati, and Ron will be licensed 30 years on the 15th. I have been licensed 11 years, and we have 3 buyer's agents. We have 1 licensed transaction coordinator, and we have a marketing specialist. I know she has a fancy title, but I can't remember what we gave it her.
Yeah.
That title. So that's our team.
So Angie, since the Bishers told everyone a little bit how their team is set up, how do you have your team set up?
Yes. So I strictly handle all of our listings. So I'm the listing specialist on our team. We have 2 full-time buyer's agents, and then we have 1 licensed admin, which is amazing, Megan. And then we have 1 unlicensed assistant. And then we also, my husband, so if you see in pictures, a guy, that is my husband. He actually is a full-time teacher, so that is his main job, but he does have his license and he does help us out sometimes. So
he balances our pictures. So
yeah.
We have Jim in that.
That's it.
So Ron and Anna, how do you handle, I know Angie handles all the listings for the team. She's the only one that doesn't, even though buyer's agents or myself would bring a listing to the table. How do you handle your listings?
Well, for the most part, I would say I handle most of the sellers, and I go on a lot of appointments together for listings, but I seem to be the main contact for a lot of the listings. And then as far as the other team members, they do a lot of the buyers and showings, and when we're not available, we're on a listing appointment, something needs to be shown, that's when the buyer's agents definitely help out. So the one thing that we make sure when we're talking team is we use, we and our a lot, so that the customer knows that even though they're talking to us to sell the house, they have the team behind them, and we're not the type of team that we're going to turn them over to somebody else. I mean, when the phone rings, I'm amazed my people are surprised that I actually answer the phone sometimes. It's like, so, but that's kind of how we're set up. It's kind of good cop, bad cop. Good cop, bad cop.
But all of our buyer's agents do take listings of their own, and they are permitted to do so. I know there are some teams that prefer that their buyer's agents don't we encourage our buyers agents to take listing appointments as well. So some of them do ask Ron to go on listing appointments with them, and that's just because they're not as experienced as Ron is in listing appointments. So they do ask Ron to go on a lot of those listing appointments with them.
Very nice. Okay. So now that, sure what that was. Now that we know how the teams are set up, now that we know a little bit how the teams are set up, I think so often people want to know, when did you know it was time to go ahead and start with the team? So I'm not sure. Who wants to go first on this one? Angie?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So, you know, I would say, so when I got my license in 2008, it was pretty soon after that, I did start having some, you know, friends. One of my best friends, she joined my team. You know, obviously my husband got his license. I had another friend. I mean, it just kind of, it started growing, but it was everybody just kind of doing their own thing. So we were a team, but we were all individually out there doing our own thing. Which I thought was working, but to be honest, I was just going crazy. I mean, honestly, even my health, like I just started, you know, not being able, I think, to do everything 100%. And I obviously like to do things 100%. So I ended up hiring Megan as an unlicensed assistant, just to work 10 hours a week. I mean, that was really just my right hand, whatever I needed her to do. Well, as you guys all know, Megan, probably by now, she is amazing. And to be honest, she just started doing more and more. And then she was honestly almost doing it better than I was. And so it just kind of evolved from there. And I don't know that she loves working 70 hours a week now, but she did get her license. So she did get licensed to be able to help us. And we can go over that later with a lot of other things that, you know, she couldn't do beforehand. Then in 2017, Coldwell Banker, you know, came to me and they talked to me about Steve Euler coming and talking to myself and our team and kind of revamping our team. So at that point, that's when we all kind of took a different look with our team, set things up different. Everyone had specific roles. And that has kind of, I guess, evolved in what we are today. So that's kind of where we're at.
Ron and Anna, when did you know it was time to have a team?
Well, when I came to Coldwell Banker in 2012, I had a licensed assistant that was working with me. And then it was time for Ann, who does an amazing job, to go on her own and do her own thing. So she's doing great. And then Anna obviously was on. We were working together. You know, I think what happens is you do get busy. And to Angelina's point, you know, your lifestyle and all that, you're constantly working. And we have 3 daughters, and it was just time for us to get some additional help. And Steve Euler was instrumental in getting us to hire an admin. I was not much for it at first. I'm not going to lie. Anna really pushed me to do it. She was doing a lot of the paperwork that I hate to do. I think Scott touched on it in the earlier session. I mean, I'm just not a paperwork person, and we just knew we needed help to continue to grow our team, but also to have a better quality of life. So that's when we decided to get some team members.
And I think we needed to be a little more organized. I think Ron's system of organization was mailing labels, and we needed something more than mailing labels to organize the clients.
And I read I've read a book, I forget the name of it. It was about doing money making activities. And not filling out the stuff that I just did not want to fill out, the title stuff and all that. And when you're an individual agent and you have great months, odds are the next months are going to be a little slower because you're in the process of taking care of all the deals you just sold. And that's when getting a team will let you get more of a steady income instead of the up and down income of an individual agent that's selling 8 houses one month and then going through 8 inspection addendums and 8 title sheets and everything else. So that's when I realized to get our units to grow, we need to get more help. Yeah.
Very nice. So as I think most people know, building a team, there's going to be ups and downs and struggles and things that are positive and things that are negative. And obviously both of you, when you started developing your team. So people want to know, what was the biggest team challenge that you've experienced, as well as your greatest team success? So let's start with the Bishers.
I think the biggest challenge again is people don't need it to be you. You feel like that it has to be you to show them the house or you to do it. And again, and Scott touched on it, and we share a lot of the same beliefs. It's the service, and nothing makes me happier is when someone says, "Listen, I know you might be busy. You know what? Can Anna come, or can Stephanie or Sam or whoever?" I mean, they want service, and I think that's the big challenge for me to realize that I can let go and let someone else provide the same service, and the customer is very satisfied with that.
And I think the other thing is, I think it's important to celebrate as a team your successes, because that just creates great synergy. So when you have a great month, I think it's important to celebrate that as a team, because, you know, when you're putting things out on Facebook, and, you know, we like to celebrate, you know, every closing, you know, congratulations to Stephanie for just, you know, helping this buyer or this seller. You know, I think it's important to celebrate them, because that's their success as well as the team's success as well.
Yeah. And
Angie, go ahead.
I'm sorry. And delegating.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. Sometimes I think it's easier just to do it yourself instead of delegating it to somebody else. And that's important.
Angie, what would you describe as your most challenging part of building a team, as well as your greatest success?
So mine, I think, is very similar to the Bishers. I think we kind of have the same thing. It is hard to let go of those clients. I mean, built these relationships with them, and, you know, it's hard to let go and have that conversation with long-time clients, friends, you know. But I do think when you find those right team members that are doing it very similar, just like you would do that, and treat them the same way, those clients, it's fine, you know. And you can explain to, you know, people how your team is set up and feel very confident in it. That's been, like, I think, our success in a way of being able, at first it was really hard to let go, and now being able to set it up and explain it to people, it's so much easier, and it's made us have so much success. I mean, over the last 2 years of revamping the team, our business has increased over 30%.
And Angie, I think you made a really good point. I think setting it up, you know, when you initially talk to buyers and sellers is really, really important. And I think we have done a really good job, especially, you know, with the pandemic, because this is the first time we have, you know, this year we've ever met clients and been interviewed by buyers over Zoom calls. It's been a little crazy, but, you know, this is the first time we've ever done this. And we've had 3 or 4 buyers actually interview us on a Zoom call to see if we are going to be a good fit for them. And we've just explained, you know, how increasingly hard the market is and how they're going to have to make quick decisions, et cetera, et cetera. And we've just flat out said, you know, if we can't get you in a house, we have other team members that are all licensed. And, you know, if a house comes on the market at 3 o'clock and you need to see it at 5:30, we're going to make sure that one of our other agents gets you in. And that's setting that buyer up that someone else might have to show them a house. And so far, it's just worked out really, really well.
I think that actually is a really good segue into our next question, because you've talked about how you've had to kind of change how things are done in the world the year that we're calling 2020. And obviously with the way teams are working, I know for us, for example, we've had to definitely change how we're getting some things done in the middle of a global pandemic. So Angie, or Angelina, see, Angie has multiple names here. So Angelina, tell everyone on the call, what have we done as a team changing in the world of the year of 2020?
You know, I think for us as a team, I think, you know, we had to, you know, we were in a good place. We had some systems that were technology that was already set up so that we were in real time. We were updating everything in real time. So we didn't really have to be together to still have a successful business. And that was huge for us going into this. It wasn't hard for us to pick up and say, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? Because we actually did have those systems in place. So it was good for us, but it was hard not having our weekly meetings. And so, you know, we still made sure that twice a week we were having our, you know, Zoom calls and talking about things and just kind of catching up as a team, you know. So it was challenging, but I think in a way it was okay because we did have a lot of things already, you know, in place. Also, you know, we just really spent a lot of time in, you know, making sure we ensured future business. And I always say you have to spend money to make money. So we really took that time and, you know, we updated, you know, a new website. We created a new CRM, which is so important, that we did have some extra time to really learn those things. We kind of updated, we did, you know, new electronic business cards. We started doing more pop buys. So things like that, you know, that we have really kind of jumped in and done this year, which I think will be really good moving into 2021 because we have spent some of that different time that we had doing some other things.
Ron and Anna, how have you overcome the challenges of 2020 with your team?
So when everything shut down, for us, it actually was a little bit of a breather. You know, as most agents were never home, and we really enjoyed just taking walks daily. We had all three of our daughters move home, which was a little crazy because all of a sudden everybody came home. Everybody was finishing either school or working from home, and all of a sudden we went from empty nesters to holy crap, everybody's home and everybody has to find a room to work in. But we also do quarterly dinner parties, and we had to cancel our quarterly dinner parties. So anyone that buys, sells, or refers us business, we invite to a quarterly dinner party. So all of a sudden our invitations had been mailed out. We had to cancel them. And then we had to figure out what are we going to do to still stay in touch with those first quarter people. So we ended up hooking up with a local nursery, and we hand delivered hanging baskets the weekend of Mother's Day. And we got our team together, everybody loaded up their cars, and we took 2 days to deliver over 50 flower baskets all around the city. And we went literally all around the city, and we just kind of mapped it out and put, and had some little cards made up, put them in the flower baskets. We didn't ding door.
Well, I never did that as a kid. I said you did.
Rang the doorbell, stopped at the front porch. Hi, it's so nice to see you. And step back, but talk to people. And I think they enjoyed seeing a face. We, of course, enjoyed seeing people. We actually enjoyed being out of our house, but it was nice. And then, third quarter, we were able to reinvent the quarterly dinner parties. But what we also did is we also did something special for our team. We had cookies made up for our team, and we delivered a 6-pack of Corona beer to our team, rang the doorbell, stepped off the porch, and just said hi to our team because, we missed seeing them because, our team is our work family. And with as much as we spend time with our team, we joke with them. Their family is like our family. And especially for us who are empty nesters, we really enjoyed being with them. And as much as we joke around with them, we wanted to also embrace what was hard for everybody because everybody was going through the same thing at once. And we did do our weekly Zoom meetings as well. And another thing that we did is we really encouraged all of our team members to order just blank cards from Amazon. And we encouraged our team members to reach out to anyone that was a nurse, a doctor, a policeman, a fireman, anyone that they knew, and just send them a letter and thank them for their service to kind of get through the pandemic. Because if everybody remembers how hard, seeing all those Facebook and Instagram and watching the news, everybody was in such a crisis. And, not, hey, I'm a realtor if you want to buy or sell a house, but just thank them for what they were doing. So those are kind of some of the things that we did to kind of get through the pandemic.
Very nice. So we're getting close to running out of time here, and hopefully we'll still have a few minutes at the end to answer some questions. But my last question to the team leads here would be, what three or four things do you wish you would have known when you actually started building your team? So what do you wish you would have known then?
Wow.
Who wants to go first?
Wow. I still don't know I still don't know lots of things. I mean, I think really the bigger thing is just trying to absorb as much as you can from people that have successful teams. I mean, there's no sense in recreating a wheel, right? I try to pick what works out good for me. We're relationships. And again, when I was listening to Scott's presentation this morning, I'm sitting there thinking, wow, we have a lot of similarities. We're relationships. So, just trying to learn from things that fit your needs. And again, going to as many of the things Call Banker has to offer. The one time there was the client appreciation parties, and we really have dove into that, and it has been a great thing for our team, for sure. I lost my train of thought on something I was going to say, but go ahead.
I think you have to decide too, if you're going to hire an admin, do you want a licensed or a non-licensed assistant?
Yeah, and that's the most important thing. And I think there's a lot of, if you're looking to hire someone, there's a lot of realtors out there that are very good realtors, but not good lead generators. And if you see someone in your office, you're like, wow, they would be a good person to be on my team, but they don't generate leads. That might be the perfect person to get on your team. And I would highly, highly recommend your team be licensed, because I think unfortunately what happens is there's a lot of non-licensed admins doing some stuff that really requires a license. So when we go out and I say the number on my sign rings our office, and the Michael who might answer is licensed, he can answer that call, whereas a non-licensed agent is not supposed to answer questions about price and things. So again, I would treat it, and the other thing I would say is treat your team like a business. So know how the right way to pay people. Am I paying them correctly? Am I have the right people doing the right things, what their license allows them to do? Those are the important things to do as far as opening or starting a team.
Very nice. Angelina, what would you like to have told yourself 3 years ago?
Yeah, so I would say almost exact same thing again that Ron and Anna, just said. I think, we have some really great agents, great teams. I mean, reach out to them. When I started, I didn't have this. I mean, we have so many resources that the agents now building teams, they don't have to maybe go through all the steps that we did to get where we are, because there's so many systems now. There's so many people that you can reach out to. And I think myself, if anybody wants to ever reach out to me to talk about a team, how we should help, I'd be more than happy to do that.
And we feel the exact same way, because again, we're all here to help each other. So yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think.
All right.
Go ahead.
No,
the one thing I just think that, changes are hard. I mean, this was hard for me to kind of do this. Changes are hard, but the results can be so rewarding. So now I'm finally seeing that, and seeing the rewards of having the team and having good people in place. I mean, it's helped us all grow, not just myself, but our whole team grow. So.
Well, and I think in piggybacking on what you're saying, Angelina, when Coldwell Banker came to you that spring of 2017, it was not you jumped in feet first. You took a few months to decide, does this really make sense for me? And it was a hard decision. And kudos to you for taking that leap of faith. But it was not an overnight decision with that. Ronnie, I think you are monitoring the discussion board or questions. Are there any that popped up?
Yeah, we have a few questions. And the first one, I think Scott touched on this a little bit when he was talking earlier, but I'd like to get both of you guys' thoughts on this. This comes from Barry. It says, was there a volume amount or units sold that triggered your desire to convert to a team? If so, how many?
That's a great question. And I know
that's hard for us because Ron was kind of the listing person and I was the buyer's agent. but we had a family, so.
I think it really comes down to your personal situation. And I heard another great thing one time. If you're burnt out and you know it's changing things, and you're walking into your house on your phone, your kids are happy to see you, and you're doing this while you're on the phone, you got so much going on, it might be time to start thinking about getting a team. And that's where I was at. It was just kind of like, and you're missing things, but I know Steve had a formula for so many transactions, and honestly, I don't know that number, but I just know as a lifestyle, if you're getting burned out and work's no longer fun and you're missing out on things, it might be time. And not every team's going to all of a sudden start doing 200 units or 150 units. If it's making your quality of life better, then hey, get some help. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. Angelina, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I would say I waited way too long. Joe kept telling me, you need to do this, and I just kept pushing, no. So I honestly think it was closer to probably 40 units before I, said I got Megan to join us. So I would say, and I know, Scott said 30 today. So I think anywhere probably between that 30 and 40, I would say majority of us are feeling overwhelmed at that point.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. I think what, like you said, is once you start feeling overwhelmed, it's maybe time to start thinking, and like you said, if it's affecting your family life. So another question we have from Barbara is, how do you compensate all your members of your team? Are they salaries, or how are you guys handling that?
Okay, well, I'll comment on that too. I think it's, and Scott touched on it, it's got to be fair for all parties. I think if you're going to try to get a team member that's going to do a lot of your just mundane stuff, and you're going to pay them just very next to nothing, it's just not going to work. It's got to be fair for all our parties. But I know our admin is on a salary and also a bonus structure with commission, but he's also licensed, so we're able to do that. And again, I think if you're going to have an admin in there and you're going to pay them an hourly wage, then I think you'd be best to talk to an accountant and find out, do I need the W-2 this person? Am I telling them when to show up, when they can leave? That's all stuff that I think you got to treat your team as a business and talk to the right folks. As far as our buyer's agents, really it's a sliding scale depending on the situation. If they're just letting somebody into a house for us, then they get paid a certain way. If they're taking care of it to a contract, they get paid a certain way. If we're doing it together, it's a different way. So it's kind of a sliding scale, but I think it's very important to reward the team and the whole team success.
Awesome. Angelina, any
those numbers, if someone wants to call me direct or whatever, we can talk about that too.
Yeah, and I feel like too, that's kind of if anyone wants to call, because mine's a setup similar, but if someone wants to call, I could always sit down and kind of help them, because there is different steps in the way that, people are paid. And so, yeah, we could kind of go over that if anybody wants to talk about that.
And that was a learning process for us too. It took a couple years for us to come up with something that we felt was right.
Yeah.
Because the first couple times we didn't get it right.
Yeah.
So we have 2 minutes here. I just got 2 quick questions. Should the admin be virtual or not? Do you guys have in-person admins, or are they virtual right now?
Ours are
I'm here.
Ours are in person. We are a work from office team. We are in the office a lot together, which adds to the synergy and everything else, but we are in person.
Okay.
So we have not been, to be honest. We really, when this all happened, we have pretty much been out of the office. But as of about a month ago, we started having everybody had to be back in the office. So, Megan's not here sitting from 9 to 5, working. So she is working from home, from, where she's out, or being in the office. So it's not a set schedule. But again, I think it's really important to be in the office for us as a team and to kind of work together and help each other grow.
Okay, and we have 1 more minute, so one last quick question here. How did you find your first buyer's agent?
Wow. All right, remember.
So 3rd grade, mine was.
Yeah.
We've been best friends since 3rd grade. So she was actually my very first buyer's agent.
Yeah.
Okay. I married my first buyer's agent.
Okay. Yeah.
No, so it was Anna, and then then we had a couple agents in the office that we identified that I just, you meet that are great people that just thought they'd be a good fit. And, some of them have moved on. Our buyers agents now have been with us a long time. And that's a good point. Some have moved on to get their own business to grow, which is what you aspire them to do, right? I mean, you want them to grow their business. But if you do make a bad decision on a hire or an admin, I think it's best to cut that quickly and instead of trying to change somebody, because you're just gonna be hitting your head against the wall if you don't make a change sometimes. But yeah.
Hey, Ronnie, can I say closing something real quick, and then we'll go, because I know we got to go. I just want to, I observe a lot of teams, and I think you two do an unbelievable job of creating a culture of family and caring for each other. And Ron, you said everybody wins. That's really, really, really important. And I've watched your guys' lives change because of it. And I hate to do this to you, but it's really hard to grow a team. And I know the Bishers, and I know Angelina and Megan, reach out to them, because there's a lot of landmines and people's lives are impacted if you do it wrong. So leverage the strength of people who've already gone through the path and learn from them. And these are very, very helpful people. So reach out to them, because I just think you guys are great. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
I was actually talking about Anna and the other group more than so. And please, and there's a whole new problem if you marry your first buyer's agent if you already have a spouse. So I just want to go on record. Thank you, guys.
All right, everyone. Thanks for coming.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.